vlog. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought that we would film a Valentine's Day-esque reading vlog. I found this time of my life. I don't know, I'm just bored. Sheldon was insistent that you have to start with the edge. Like at this point, I feel like I'm begging. Actually, Wednesday, I thought that I wasn't going to film this vlog anymore because it's Wednesday and I've had some school commitments this week. However, we still have 4 days until Valentine's Day and I have been still reading even though I've had these commitments, just not as much as I wanted to. So I thought that we would still hop into the vlog. I'm going to submit my assignment today. So I thought that we could still go ahead, start the vlog, get some books done. And currently I'm in the middle of 3 books. In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. I've been reading this series extremely out of order, but that's okay with me. I just have genuinely no interest in the plot of When in Rome, which is the first book in the series. But I ended up really being interested in the plot of Beg, Borrow, Steal because it sounded like Abbott Elementary, and that's like one of my favorite shows of all time. So I ended up picking it up last year and I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite books of last year. So I ended up picking this one up because I'm also really interested in this sister's story, and I thought that maybe I would be slightly good and just go back and read the book from before Beg, Borrow, Steal, because I mean this storyline didn't bother me. It wasn't super appealing, but I was like, you know what, it's whatever. And my mom had also read this one and really liked it. So I read Practice Makes Perfect over the weekend and I liked it. I am loving this one though. I love this sister specifically and I really love the main male character. I feel like I've gotten a lot of him, especially in Beg, Borrow, Steal. But I'm so excited for their story, and so far I just think the writing is just glaringly better in this book and Beg, Borrow, Steal versus the first book that I read in the series that was in like the first half. I'm loving it. I'm so excited to continue reading this one. The next one is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is a reread for me, and if you watched my birthday week vlog, I basically only read this last week. It's just taking me some time because I've had some school stuff, as I said, and I haven't been able to finish it, but I am on page 199, so I'm on chapter 5 of volume 2 and I'm loving it. I just need to really sit down and finish this one. I think I have about 150 pages left, if so much. So yeah, I'm excited to continue diving into this one. This one isn't a really romance. It's not really romance, if I'm being honest, but I do want to finish this one so that I can watch the movie, and that's coming out tomorrow. So if I could finish this one between today and tomorrow morning, that would be excellent. And last but not least is a completely unrelated book to Valentine's Day. I admit it, but once I finish Wuthering Heights and In Your Dreams, I could pick up like another romance or something like that. But I just wanted something to kind of cut up all the romance, and I also needed something that was on my February TBR. So I'm really interested in the storyline of this one. This is also on my February TBR, and I think it's dystopian or maybe sci-fi, and it follows the story of this Big Brother surveillance system basically, where these people, and from what I've seen it's only women so far, but I could be wrong. The characters that I've been introduced to though are only women. So potentially it's this surveillance system that goes into the dreams of women and collects data. And if there's any data that shows suspicious activity of like your probability to commit a crime in the future or in the near future, they will arrest you and keep you in this rehabilitation center indefinitely. It is the next day. It's around 9 a.m. I actually ended up spending way more time yesterday on my assignment than I thought I would. So I didn't get much reading. I ended up reading a bit last night while my husband was playing his games, but really didn't make that much progress from yesterday. I'm on page, the only thing I read last night was In Your Dreams, so I'm on page 161 now. I think this is going to be my first 5-star of the year. I have been on like a headhunt at this point for a 5-star read. I've been itching. I've had so many 4-star reads, so many 4.5-star reads. I can't even remember what kind of came closest to getting a 5-star in the past, not even for the year. I haven't given a 5-star since September or October, which is crazy. So I'm excited, but I don't want to get too excited because I'm nervous that it's not going to be, it's just going to fall flat like everything else has been. But this is just doing it exactly right. This is my kind of perfect romance. It's giving me Beg, Borrow, Steal. I love the dynamic between the characters so much, and I love them both individually. Like, I think these two characters, more than any other characters that I've read from the series, feel very real and tangible, and like they have real issues and real secrets and real like personalities, and they're well developed and fleshed out, and they're not just like characters on paper. I feel like they, more than anybody else in this Rome series, are so real. I feel like they're my friends, and I feel like I'm watching my friends fall in love, and it's so good. I'm loving also getting so much depth from our characters. Like, we're basically we're in both of their heads, and we're getting a lot of James' thoughts. So James is our main character. He owns this farm that his parents and his grandparents used to own before him, and it's a lot of pressure, but right now it's kind of in financial ruin, which is why he opened this restaurant, or decided to open this restaurant on the farm to kind of bring in more income. But his staff is down, and farmers are just making a lot less kind of in this day and age. And so we're hearing a lot about maybe some of his regrets and the lack of freedom of choice that he got in like inheriting this farm, and the pressure of it. And we're also seeing some health related issues, and we're seeing like just a very stressed out guy who has the weight of the world on his shoulder. And I feel like something about him really reminds me of my husband, and I think that's why I find him so endearing, and it's so easy to feel empathy towards him and to just really like him as a character, because he's also, while he has his stuff going on, he's also so funny and charming, and the banter and the kind of quips between him and Madison are so good. But also there's a lot of vulnerability and tenderness between them, even though like the basis of their relationship is kind of quipping back and forth towards each other. There's so much tenderness between them and such obvious love. So I'm really loving it, and because this is the last one, I feel like we're wrapping up all of the characters' stories and all of the couples' stories. We're getting some little hints of tea that's going on with the siblings. So I think definitely at the end of this book we'll be fully wrapping up the series in a really meaningful way, and I feel like that'll be so precious, and I'm going to love it. But before that, we'll be watching James and Madison fall in love, and that is going to, I think that's going to do it for me. I must say, I think that will do it for me. So this shot done. start reading now.
I can be the one you love, but I'm so goddamn tired of why'd you have to leave me here all alone? Yeah, I should've known.
You know what Sarah Adams is doing so well? She's describing James, because James is like a farm guy. He is like super built and muscular and strong, but she's not. And Maddie is like, we know that she's very like slim and tiny because we've heard like descriptions of her where she's like manic pixie dream girl almost. But Sarah Adams is not making it seem like, oh my god, he's so gigantic, oh my god. You know, like we're getting a good visual of them physically as a couple, but it doesn't feel like a cliche, you know? So you are jumping on me so hard. James, I think what part of the reason why I didn't like Practice Makes Perfect is because I don't particularly love a bad boy. I actually don't like a bad boy generally, but I love an actually good guy who is wholesome and generally has his life together, but he has like an edge. There's something edgy about him and he's sarcastic. I will eat that up every time. I don't really love the tattoos and like the bad boy energy, but James, I just realized what the difference between Practice Makes Perfect and these last two books are, Beg, Borrow, Steal and In Your Dreams. It's the history. In Practice Makes Perfect, they were practically strangers falling in love, but I feel like it's the second chance romance lover in me, but I just love when there's enough history and enough knowledge about each other to poke each other's buttons and like get under each other's skin. I just think that is like actually my favorite thing of all time. I think I actually annotated something. Okay, so James slowly pushes himself back up to a sitting position. Why did you stop? Ogling you or talking? But the inflection in his voice tells me his question was intended as a double entendre. It's so playful, it curls under my skin and encourages me to keep going. Like, I need them to be able to crawl under each other's skin. That is my passion. That is my passion. If I don't have that, it cannot be a 5-star romance. Unfortunately. I've had many times in my life, like at this point, I feel like I'm begging. Like they have me begging and I'm not even there. Just say we love each other. Just say that you love her. Just say that you love him. And kiss. I also love that the attraction is made very explicit. I feel like a lot of times in romance books, we don't, like it just feels very unrealistic that two mature adults who are attracted to each other, despite the circumstances, would not acknowledge or recognize that the other person has feelings for them based on like their actions and anything that they say. So I love that kind of very early on we have acknowledged that there's a mutual attraction and we've acknowledged it vocally to the other person. And I just feel like it adds such a layer of tension knowing that they both know that there's this attraction and sometimes kind of acting on it and towing the line, but not actually like going too far. And they're like when you're in their perspective, you hear or like you read how close they were to pushing it too far.
So goddamn tired of why did you have to leave me here all alone? Yeah, I should've known.
I finished. It's the next day. I actually finished this really early this morning when I woke up, and that's what my first 5-star read of the year looks like. I literally loved every single second of this. I couldn't stop thinking about it when I wasn't reading. I couldn't stop giggling and smiling and loving these characters. I just had the absolute best time of my life reading this book, and I'm so sad that it's done. I'm trying to figure out if I love this one more than Beg, Borrow, Steal. I don't think I do, but I could. I I could. I might. I don't know. I don't really want to think about it. I don't want to compare my favorite children, but I loved this so much. And unfortunately, that means that whatever I read next has like ginormous shoes to fill. I think I might get a little bit more into the Dream Hotel. I'm still only on page like 15. I just finished the first chapter, so I think I'll read a bit of this. My hands on the audiobook of The Dream Hotel, and I've been listening to it and annotating it while I start this puzzle that I've had for like 2 years now almost. And it's a 1,000-piece puzzle, which was definitely ambitious of me, seeing that I probably haven't done a puzzle in over a decade, maybe even two. Like, I don't remember doing many puzzles into my teenage years, maybe none at all. I used to do maybe crossword puzzles and stuff, but never puzzles like this, jigsaw puzzles. So that should be a journey. I am definitely going to take my time with it. And I was actually watching The Big Bang Theory yesterday, and there was an episode where they were doing a puzzle, and Sheldon was insistent that you have to start with the edge. So that's what I'm doing right now. But that's completely unrelated. So I'm listening to The Dream Hotel, and I'm really liking it so far. Um, I think it's interesting. It's interesting commentary on two things, maybe even three things. It's interesting commentary on AI and surveillance and privacy. There are some quotes in here that I had highlighted earlier. The system is never satisfied with the data it already has. It always seeks more in new formats or from new sources, including human collectors. And there's another one that I really like. It says the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl, the Hoovervilles scattered across a sterile landscape. All these were in the past. The future belonged to science and progress. It's really interesting. It's definitely an interesting conversation that's being presented about technological advancement and at what cost. So I'm really enjoying that. And then we're also kind of talking about politics. And obviously, you can't talk about systems like this where, obviously the government is controlling this surveillance system and the legislative act. It's been a couple days and I have a few reading updates. I finished both Wuthering Heights and In Your Dreams. Yesterday, I finished Wuthering Heights finally, and I ended up rating this one. Oh, I rated In Your Dreams 5 stars because it was everything that I wanted from like a cheesy rom com story. For Wuthering Heights, this is still my favorite classic that I've ever read, but I still give it 4 stars. I think that there's definitely a 5 star classic out there for me, but I don't know. As I was saying earlier, I just think that the second volume really slows down for me because I just didn't really care that much about like that second generation of characters and kind of seeing them pay for some of the decisions of their predecessors and seeing Heathcliff's reign of terror. Like it just wasn't as captivating as like the obsession and the consumption of the first volume with Catherine and Heathcliff. But I obviously did love how it ended off. I thought it was haunting and beautiful as it was the first time. But yeah, 4 stars for this one. And then I've been reading The Dream Hotel while I was doing my puzzle all day yesterday. I kid you not. All day or all afternoon yesterday, I was doing my puzzle and listening to this audiobook. So now I'm on, let me see. Now I'm on page 241, so I would say I'm maybe like 70 or 75% of the way through this one. And I've been annotating it a bit while I was also listening to the audiobook. And I'm loving this a lot. I think that, oh, I had gotten cut off the last time when I was doing my puzzle and I was talking about this. But the thing that I think I'm enjoying the most about this is the conversation about detention and not detention, retention and incarceration, because these people are not technically imprisoned, but we're seeing a lot of themes of unlawful arrest and we're seeing how the system is basically just kind of set up to fail them and to extend their period of service. And I just think it's so fascinating the way that it's being presented in this book because technically they're not imprisoned. And somebody was saying that they they haven't passed legislation on whether this is incarceration or not and what their rights are. So technically they have no rights, like they have no foot to stand on. And the more they protest and push back and stand up for themselves, the more time they have to spend there. So you kind of just have to come in, keep your head down, don't do anything basically, and then hope for the best. And then they're also talking about like delays in trials and stuff, and I just think it's so fascinating. It's definitely a very present theme in the book, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Even when we were getting our main character's backstory of how she was retained, she was in the airport and the AI flagged her as high risk, and so she was taken in the back to do like one of those security interviews, and she was basically like she was there for a really long period of time. She wasn't offered any water. She wasn't offered to call her attorney, and she wasn't offered to call anybody else, like a loved one or anything. And she was basically like asking for these rights because if you're going to take me for an indefinite amount of time, you best believe that you will offer me some like reasonable rights. And so it was interesting. And then even as we got to like the end of her interview, and she was like kind of coming to terms with the fact that the things that she was saying to the officer candidly are now being used against her. And she was like, should I have had my guard up this entire time? Yes, you should have. You always should. But it's just really interesting. They have like an insane amount of discretion. So if they just don't like you, they can continue extending your stay. And it's crazy. But there was also like a bit of a plot twist where we got a different narrative voice for a minute, which was fascinating. I'm really, really liking this one. I have high hopes for it. And I think this might be the last read of this vlog, but I think I might finish this now and finish it physically. I only have maybe 60 pages left, so I finished the Dream Hotel last night, and I have a lot of thoughts, but I don't think I'm going to go on a rant. I gave this 4 stars at the end, which was really disappointing to be honest, because I really thought that I was going to give this one 5 stars. As you know, I've been fighting for my life with 5-star reads, and I've been loving the beginning of stories and not the ending. And that's just really frustrating. It's just frustrating more than anything, feeling like maybe I'm just out of touch with my taste, or maybe I'm in some sort of reading slump. And it's not that I don't want to read, it's just that nothing is hitting. I don't know what it is, but this one was really hitting. I was really loving it. And the end just felt like it should have ended with to be continued. Like the ending should have been at the 60% mark, and then we get things falling into place, characters intertwining, an acceptable and satisfactory resolution to the story. Like it just felt like nothing happened, and then the ending was that nothing happened. I'm fine with nothing happening for 95% of the book, and then at the end we get like something very satisfying, whether it's overlapping of timelines or characters taking down the big brother or whatever the hell it is. This annoyed me. It annoyed me because I was really expecting great things from it, and throughout all of the book up until I want to say 85%, I was sure that I was going to love it. At that point I had put a lot of trust, I would say, in the author to bring things back together and tie things up in a bow. This is literally a standalone dystopian novel, and there's so much potential for just a bigger impact to be made on the world in this book than what we got. And I was just so disappointed. I was so confused about that perspective that I told you all about the last time I filmed, where there was this one really fascinating change of perspective, and I thought that we were going to get a lot more of that character and kind of see how their lives intertwine and see what that character's impact on our main character's life was. The way that it was brought back was so annoying and underwhelming and disappointing, and I just felt like, what was this all for? Literally, what was this all for? I'm just so confused. And it had so much, it's extra annoying because it had so much potential. I want to give this 3.5 stars because now I feel angry. It's just, there was some really good quotes in here. The themes and the messaging in here were definitely the shining star, I would say. I think that's what kept me so engaged for such a long time, even though the actual plot was quite mundane. And the characters, I don't think any of the characters were particularly interesting to follow, and I felt like there were a lot of them that I never really got to know at all, really. So the only thing that was keeping me was the writing and like trusting the author that all of this mundane stuff is going to eventually pay off and make sense and come back around. And anyway, aside from that, I had such a good reading week this week. I loved all of the books that I read. I was just kind of disappointed in the ending of this one, but other than that, I really had a good time, and I hope you enjoyed following me. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.